Good evening, everyone. Hope that you are doing well. Hope that you're feeling good, having a nice day, whether you have your feet up, relaxing, laying down in bed, you got your phone, doing one of these and just watching me. You're on the train, you're on the bus, you're walking down the street, you're taking a bike ride, wherever you are. I appreciate you dropping on in and stopping on by. As today, we give a listen to Arvo Part's Deum. Hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly, as performed by the Estonian Philharmonic Chamber Choir, the Tallinn Chamber Orchestra, and I believe led by Tonu Kajust. This album was released in 1993. It's part of the ECM company. We're giving this a listen because it was suggested and sponsored by Paul. So, Paul, thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you for the suggestion, their support. I appreciate that. And then I see that this has also been mentioned in the comments by Lynn Connolly, and Mark as well. So thank you guys also. I appreciate that. Now, Paul did give me a little bit of context. You said, and I appreciate this, it starts off very quiet, but don't crank the volume as the dynamic range is wide. I appreciate that because it's very rare. I try to keep all the volumes already adjusted where they need to be for the channel, but sometimes, a track or an upload is a little quieter, a little louder, so I might adjust it here and there. So I appreciate that. You said it's a continuous 30-minute movement based on a 4th century hymn, scored for 3 separate choirs, a string orchestra, pre-recorded wind harp tape loop, and an amplified piano prepared with metal screws. Can I tell you, honestly, so I've been going through and, of course, doing the different requests here from the Buy Me a Coffee. And I've had this one, I've not sat on it, but I waited till I had, time that I could sit down and really sink into it and everything. I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited to kind of hear this and see how that sounds. You've kind of given me the context, but I'm curious to hear how it is actually sounding. So let's go ahead and do it. We will sit down for about 28 minutes or so, discuss a little bit after, relax. Here we go. Not touching the volume. Good chance. I like how that deep piano chord brought in the lower range of the voices, and they rose from there. That was really good. I love how, I like how for a moment the strings took over from the choir. It rose up, and now they're kind of mixed in together. It's like the music sometimes comes and lifts you up and then gently drops you back down in layers. Interesting change. I like that resolution. It sounded very like peaceful. strings swing in. I love that resolution there. They always resolve it in such a peaceful way. Oh. The strings are nearing a percussive kind of energy. I like how the female choir came in kind of mixing with the male there. I like how the piano chords act as like statement marks. like that drone in the back. It's not always present, but it feels like it is. Like how higher strings, higher notes take that place in the pattern, elevating it. That's dramatic. Just drops that note. I love these ashes moment just after the fire. This is the ashes of everything. It's always so cool when they start so low. I guess that drone is always kind of present. Always hear that drama slowly seeping in, slowly, patiently. piano's always so impactful. It's just a little note. Even the women started so low. I love it. I love how this came back. That pause. that's one of the best times that I've sat here for 28 minutes and just absorbed. This to me is perfect when it comes to orchestral works and such. This is perfect. Just sit down. Just sit down or stand up or just clear your mind for 30 minutes. This is music that I don't want to think. I don't want to be distracted with the going-ons of the day and the worries of tomorrow. I just want to be present in the moment for 28 minutes. Just sit here and listen and feel. And when it comes to that kind of feeling, this captures it perfectly. For me, I can't speak for you, but for me, when it comes to, I know that maybe this isn't classical music, but classical music, this is like, I love to sit and listen to this. You know, there's some that's dramatic and exciting and that's great. But what's usually going to touch my heart is something soft, something that has a mystique to it, that something that flows immaculately. Something like this just hits a great spot. My Spotify playlist gets larger by the day. I'm going to add this onto my list. Since I can pull it up here. Previous track. There we go. I think that this was sensational. This was a beautiful way just to spend 30 minutes in every sense of the moment. I love a lot of things about this. So let's talk about those things. The first that comes to mind is the piano. The piano is not always present in here. But from the first time that we hear those chords come in, or two other times throughout where we hear little light notes into the climactic ending where it's just raging in its own subtle way, the piano has a large part. It acts as a stone dropped into the pond of this piece and just sends out ripples every single time that affects what it comes across. It affects the strings. It affects the voices. It adds this drama. And, you know, for a piece that features male choir, female choir, the loop in there, you know, strings, the piano is kind of the statement piece. The piano is kind of that conductor in a sense that kind of guides and tells the music where it's going in its own way. I just loved the piano. I when the chords came in so deeply, it felt like it was starting something. It felt like it was the beginning of something, and it often was the beginning of a new emotion that was being drawn up by the strings or the choirs, whichever it might be at that particular time. But the piano always felt like it was the herald of something to come. The choir is obviously, without a doubt, immaculate and a joy to listen to. I loved every time that the male choir would start off in the lower range and slowly build their way from dirt to mountaintop. And the female choir sometimes acting in the middle and then launching even higher into the heavens. So it was this really wonderful balance between something lowly, something higher, and then the middling of both, and, you know, going each into their directions. And I thought that was sensational. When the strings came in, wings were given to their voices, and they either took flight or they descended, and they did it with such grace and elegance that it was always a great time to listen to. I love when the strings actually take a little bit of a turn and begin to play in a more dramatic fashion, with the strings cutting a little bit more actionable. And, you know, it was really interesting how this piece in a whole, and I do mean this, perfectly went between something so subtle and ambient and relaxing to where you can just close your eyes and sit in your imaginary pew listening to this into something incredibly intense, but never losing focus of that subtlety that made it what it is. It doesn't go off into some random tirade of deep, heavy strings and some random part that comes in. That's cool, but I like this. I like this, that it has a progression, it maintains a spirit throughout, and it never loses focus of that. Never. This was a really fantastic piece to listen to. And I love I'm pulling it up the timestamps now. I love the time right around 15 minutes, a little bit after. Here. Let's give you a pause. But this little like back and forth conversation that the strings have, which the other strings kind of build around it, keeping that swell of ambience around. And then the choir just jumps in. And basically at a little over a halfway point, we get that first climax. We reach that first hilltop, and the view is beautiful. But it's still a forward, a prelude of things to come later on as we revisit this on the next hill as it gets to the end there. But I like the change in all the music and how, even the strings, they start pop, 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 pop. They just start repeating from there, building up. And then it's going to drop back off after this. Alpha before that. And also, at many times throughout this piece, there always seems to be a little bit of like this drone, this singular sustained note. So I'm assuming that's probably the loop that was mentioned. It always seems to be in there in the background, just like this tiny little melody. And sometimes it's more apparent, but sometimes it's a hairline of audio tracking. But I like how it's like it has a presence in the music. And like I said, it's not always, at least in my first listen, it's not always actually there, but it seems to be 90% there throughout the time on this one. And that ending, man. Thunderous. Seeing that drone's, of course, there, but now it's much stronger. But it's funny how it builds up to that from this. That's incredible. I love it. I have nothing at all bad to say about that. Of course, are you crazy? And I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. Deum, Deum, perhaps sounds more correct. Is a setting of a Latin Te Deum text, also known as the Ambrosian hymn, attributed to Saint Ambrose, Augustine, and Hilary by Estonian-born composer Arvo Pärt, commissioned by the Westdeutscher Rundfunk in Cologne, Germany in 1984. The Te Deum plays an important role in the services of many Christian denominations. Because of the unusual instrumentation Pärt employs, his Te Deum is not suited for use within the Orthodox Church. It was recorded as we just heard it in 1993. Let's see, the Te Deum employs Pärt's signature tintinnabuli compositional style. Tintinnabuli is often described as a minimalistic compositional technique, as its harmonic logic departs from that of the tonal tradition of Western classical music, creating its own distinct harmonic system. Okay, I kind of get that. Just different harmonies, not what it's expected out of Western music. Gotcha. Tintinnabulation is a process in which a chosen triad encircles a melody, manifesting itself in specific positions in relation to the melody, according to a predetermined scheme of adjacency. In its most rudimentary form, Pärt's tintinnabuli music is composed of two main voices. One carries the usually stepwise melody, while the other follows the trajectory of the melody, but is limited to notes of a specific triad. Okay. According to the Universal Edition full score, the piano part requires that 4 pitches be prepared with metal screws and calls for as large a concert grand as possible and amplified. Yeah, so when those notes hit from the piano, you feel them. The wind harp is similar to an Aeolian harp, its strings vibrating due to wind passing through the instrument. Manfred Eicher of ECM Records recorded this wind music on tape and processed it acoustically. The wind harp functions as a drone throughout the piece, fulfilling a function comparable to that of the Ison in Byzantine church music, a repeated note which does not change pitch. On the ECM Records leaflet, Pärt wrote that the Te Deum text has immutable truths, reminding him of the immeasurable serenity imparted by a mountain panorama. His composition sought to communicate a mood that could be infinite in time out of the flow of infinity. I had to draw this music gently out of silence and emptiness. And draw it beautifully, he absolutely has. We have the Latin text here, which I have over here. Well, I have the English translation. The Latin text of the Te Deum is made up of 29 lines of verse, each of which is the subject of one section of Pärt's composition. These 29 sections are not considered movements in the sense of traditional choral works because they are not separated by silences or pauses. Interesting. Each line of text is introduced as plain song before its augmentation in either a choral or instrumental texture. I get that. Makes sense. Yeah, you can definitely hear that. Although each of the piece's 29 sections follow this pattern, they function differently from the movements of traditional choral works. With the exception of 3 silences, each section of the Te Deum flows directly into the succeeding one, with the wind harp drone often providing as a bridge. Absolutely. And that's a smart way to do it. If you're going to transition from, let's just say, part A to part B to point C, it's good to have part D used as a through line between all of those as a continuous through line so it doesn't feel so off or, abrupt. It goes on and a lot more on the specifics of, music, of the music in that regard. A lot of other stuff here. If you really want to dive deep into the music theory and such of it, it's got you. Tintinnabuli harmony consists of a reaction within harmonic line. That's cool. Influence of early European music and church music. Te Deum arguably bears more resemblance to early Christian music than to the choral works of the past 300 years. The drone can thus be thought of less as a part of the piece itself than it is a part of the environment in which the choirs and strings perform. I like that. You could almost say it's like field noise to the music in a sense. I would like to click on the Tintinnabuli here. It's a compositional style, of course, by Arvo Pärt. Furalina is on my playlist. I'm 90% sure. No. It's a really slow piano song. So it's the second song on my playlist. Let me take off my screen. So look, I'm pulling up Spotify really quick. Pull up my classical playlist. That's actually really funny. Where's my classical playlist? I gotta find it. There it is. It's actually the second one, date added, April 3rd, 2020. Oh, it's a beautiful slow piece. This is a slow piano piece of music, but it's gorgeous. It's so frosty, this is a great meditative piece of music. That's actually really cool. Okay, we're learning. Introducing as Furalina, used again in Spiegel and Spiegel. This simple style was influenced by the composer's mystical experiences of chant music. Musically, Pärt's Tintinnabuli music is characterized by the two... Okay, we learned about that. The works often have a slow and meditative tempo and a minimalist approach to both notation and performance. Yeah, Furalina is extremely minimalistic. That's actually really cool. I didn't realize I had heard him before. Huh. We're learning because, like, you know, obviously now, especially on the channel, like we're learning a lot more and like diving into stuff. But like when I'm like before, not necessarily before the channel, was 2020 before the channel? No, it's probably right around the time. I don't know. Either way, I was just listening to classical music on my own and just adding music that I liked. So that's how a lot of these got added. You know, these have nothing to do with the channel. These are just things I came to. Oh, okay. I like that. I like that a lot. That was a great way to spend 30 minutes. I don't know about you, but it was a great way to spend 30 minutes. Paul, fantastic recommendation. Really great request. Thank you so much. Hope that you guys enjoyed that. I really do. Hope that you like that. I would love to hear more in that vein of things. Yeah. Great time. I listen, you know, like when people work out, there's like stereotypical music, like people listening to like rock music and metal and stuff like that. It's cool. But most of the time when I'm working out, I'm listening to jazz. And actually, I'm usually listening to jazz as my workout music, but I'll also randomly toss on some other stuff. And this actually would be really nice to listen to on a run, especially like in the morning, like as the sun's rising. Anyways, great recommendation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much once again for the suggestion, and I hope that you all have a wonderful one. That was good, huh?